Submission Underground took place. I got to tell you, best Submission Underground I've ever seen. Haven't been more excited for a Submission Underground, and it absolutely delivered. Let's start with the Platinum Princess. Platinum Princess comes out, incredible attitude. Apparently, she used to be a professional tennis player. So she's not new to competition. She's just new to this kind of competition. Well, she went at it with a very equally matched opponent. This was a real back and forth. Both ladies were trying. Both ladies showed athleticism. Both showed heart and skill. Ultimately, it was not the princess's night. But I think that she had a lot of fun, and I can tell you the crowd loved her. Everything I was telling you guys to look forward to, that she brings something special to the table, was right, and she did. Now, I set you up with her because her husband, Platinum Mike Perry, makes the walk. He's going to take on Iaquinta. These guys are such rough guys. I mean, Perry, the way he grew up, Perry that you know now, all the way to the New Yorker in Iaquinta, we had to bring in special security just because of this match. We had to bring in a three-man security team because we did not know for sure what's going to happen. Do these guys... It's not an honor issue, it's a discipline issue. Do these two guys have the discipline to make sure we follow the rules, which first and foremost is no striking of any kind? I mean, first and foremost, before you get the ins and outs to what you can do under the unified rules, you do have to understand it's grappling, which means there's no striking. We weren't confident enough prior to this match. We brought in three-man security team. Just to paint in perspective, and guys, it was tense. At the weigh-ins, which happened, Mike Perry takes out a cigarette, gets off the scale, reaches up, takes out a cigarette, takes out a lighter, lights it up, takes a nice drag, blows the smoke into Al's face. Then has some words for Al as he turns away. And this is only hours before the event. I mean, I'm just telling you, there was a tension. When these guys walked out, the fans came to their feet. This was a crazy match. And if you look at this thing on paper, everything here does favor Al. Everything. Al's a lifelong wrestler, which he said. Been training jiu-jitsu with Matt Serra for years, which is true, which he said. And in the regulation period, it did look as though Al was greatly dominant as a grappler. But Perry understood the overtime, which is where the game comes in. And Perry did a great job in the overtime. Ultimately, it was as close as you get. Nobody got submitted. We had to turn to the timekeeper, who succeeded in escaping in the least amount of time over a 3-period overtime. Went to Perry. So Perry gets this win over Al, which when you watch the match, you go, okay, but Perry won, but it looked like Al was better. It looked like Al was the better grappler, but Perry won, which under these rules is a very real thing. And the only thing that these guys had even on their same side was neither one of them had competed under this rule set before. So their strategies could be different going forward. And Perry said, look, I'm good with burying the hatchet right here unless he wants to do it another way. I'm quoting. Perry said, unless he wants to do it another way. I can only imagine interpreting. I mean, he said what's the other way? So I asked Al that question. He said he would do it if it was another way. Al said, my interpretation is the same as yours. I think we need to fight in the UFC. He needs to come down to 155. We both weighed in basically the same thing today, so I'll cut the weight, he'll cut the weight, but I'm a 55-pounder, come down to 55. Which in many ways, I also felt I was getting Dustin Poirier's answer. Because Dustin Poirier was seeking an answer from Al Iaquinta as well. I will do the fight, but we do it at 170. I thought Al putting his foot down, making it clear I'm a 55-pounder, I fight at 55. Anybody you got, any way you want to do it, but it's at 55. I thought in many ways we also got the answer to Poirier's question. Now, what happens with Perry and what happens with Al, I don't know. I'm just here to give you guys a recap of that match. Move forward, Jake Shields takes on Richie Martinez, known as the Boogeyman. Now, the Boogeyman called for this match, and I will tell you as somebody who's been in this business for a while, nobody calls for Jake Shields. You take on Jake Shields when you have to take on Jake Shields. Jake Shields is a pain in the ass to the highest of levels. He is coming after you. He has a determination. He has an iron will. He's got a great skill set. He understands how to do this, and he takes on all comers. He's just not the guy you call out for any level of attention, because you're going to then have to be wrestling Jake Shields. Boogeyman asks for this match. Well, that's weird. Okay, let's do it. Boogeyman comes out. He's great. Crowd loves him. He's a cult hero within the 10th Planet system, the Eddie Bravo system. This guy's, and they've got like their own thing. There's different branches and brands of jiu-jitsu, but the 10th Planet system, and to appease that fan base, you have to understand it, and it takes some time, but this is a hero amongst them. He made Jake Shields tap. Went to overtime. Jake was controlling some positions. Jake had all sorts of time on the clock. Really, the Boogeyman's only way, this is a little bit of a broad stroke. There was some other things that he could have done, but essentially the only way he could win this match was to tap Jake Shields in the specific position at the specific time, and he did it. Move on to the main event. We have Vinny and Kyle taking on Nicky Rod and Craig. Now, tag team is exciting to the highest of levels for all the reasons that you would think. There is double teaming going on. It is chaos going on. And now when you have 4 of the greatest grapplers currently competing, something that's never happened within tag team, not the highest level black belts on the planet have ever all stepped in there at the same time, that are all heavyweights, are all these really big guys. I mean, there was a lot of moving parts to create chaos. Well, strategy of Vinny and Kyle. Vinny's going to stay in all 8 minutes, and Vinny's just not going to get submitted. Bring in Nicky Rod, bring in Craig, do it as many times as you want. I'm going to stay in all 8 minutes, but when we get to overtime, Kyle's going in, and he's going to be 100% fresh, and that's where we're going to settle this. And by the way, there was $25,000 at stake here. So Vinny and Kyle had the right to come up with a strategy. Now, the crowd did not enjoy this. The crowd, in many ways, wanted the chaos. They wanted all 4 guys come in and going and doing all sorts of stuff. You don't always get what you want, and this was an unforeseen tactic. When you have something new and you have so much on the line, guys are going to come in with strategies. They have every right to do that within the rules. But as much as Vinny never tagged in Kyle, Nicky never tagged in Craig. Now, the crowd loves to see Craig. I must tell you, I would put Craig Jones as the face of the organization. He has come out to almost every event there's ever been. He has done nothing but clean house. I don't know that he's ever had to be in the ring more than a minute without going back and officially looking. I could be wrong on that. But the point is, Portland knows Craig Jones, and Portland comes out to see Craig Jones. Well, Craig Jones was sick. He was sick, and he showed up anyway. But Nicky knew he was sick, so Nicky's like, look, I'm going to do the heavy lifting here. I can beat both of these guys. And miscalculation by Nicky was, but can you beat them both when they're rotating on you? First off, can you beat both these guys? But under this rule set, but can you beat them both when they're rotating on you? That's a different deal, because now you're talking about competing with top level guys at a reduced energy, which over the course of the match only reduces more and more. This was a bit of a miscalculation. So Craig never saw action. Kyle Bain only came in for the overtime. Nicky Rod stays in the entire time. He just went 8 minutes with Vinny, who is arguably the best grappler to have ever done it. He gets to be in that conversation. But now Nicky's got to take on a fresh and dry Kyle Bain, was just a little bit too much to ask for. And ultimately, Vinny and Kyle held on for more time. Ultimately, they win $25,000. They win the championship. Controversial? Sure. Surprising? Sure. But was it fair play by all of the athletes within the rules? Yes. They followed the rules.